Adam here from the Walzer Automotive Group. What I want to do today is compare a couple of third row SUVs. Now on the one side I have the Mazda CX-90 and on the other side we have the Honda Pilot. So we'll look at some of the options on the inside, the outside, and see which one might just be perfect for you. Let's begin by looking at the Pilot. Now this is the 2025 Honda Pilot Touring trim level. So there's a lot of different trim levels. The Elite would be above this, or there's a few trim levels below this one, and this is also in the all-wheel drive. So the Honda Pilot comes standard with the front-wheel drive and only one engine option. So this is going to have the V6. As far as the fuel economy is concerned, you're going to be looking at about 25 mpg on the highway, or about 21 mpg combined when used with this V6 with a new 10-speed automatic transmission. It's very smooth to drive and very comfortable when you're out on the road. That being said, this one does ride on the 20-inch wheels, and the Touring will get a little bit different treatment to the exterior. One other cool thing, this one's got the roof rack rails up above, so you can throw the crossbars up there. If you're into the outdoor activities, that does make it very convenient. Now you'll notice up front as well as out back, there is going to be parking sensors. So this kind of has a parking sonar system, so if you start getting close to something, you'll see that with the backup camera that it will beep and let you know to stop. Now from there, obviously these have a ton of safety equipment built into them, but we'll check some of that stuff more on the inside. One of the other cool things with this Honda Pilot is it does have keyless entry. So you simply just tap the door handle and you're in with the click of the push button start and you're off and running. But before we dive inside on this one, let's jump over and check out that Mazda CX-90. Now looking at the CX-90, this is the 3.3 turbo with the premium package. So there's a lot of trim levels when looking at the Mazda SUVs, but one thing to note is they all come standard with all-wheel drive. There is no option for a front-wheel drive when looking at the SUVs in the Mazda lineup. Now this one, like the name says, has the 3.3-liter inline-six turbocharged engine. So fuel economy is actually going to be quite a bit better out of this model. You're going to be looking at about 25 mpg combined, so closer to about 28 on the highway. Now looking at this one, styling is a little bit different as this is kind of that mid to higher tier trim level, so you'll notice a little bit different fascia up front, and just like the Honda Pilot, you're going to have parking sensors in the front of the vehicle as well as out back. Now this one does get the upgraded 21-inch wheels with the 3.3 turbo premium package. As well, it's got those low profile roof rack rails up above. Now you'll also note that both vehicles do come with LED daytime running lights as well as LED headlights, so visibility at night is going to be great with both of these models. Now another thing to note, if you walk up to the back of either the Pilot or the CX-90, you can swipe your foot underneath with the key in your pocket, and that's going to be a power liftgate. So both are going to open up to reveal quite a bit of space. One thing I did find is the Honda Pilot does seem to have a little bit more storage space at the rear of the vehicle with that third row completely up. So while there's a lot of great stuff on the outside of these vehicles, let's jump back over to the Honda Pilot and we'll check out the interior. So since we're looking at both of these third row SUVs, it makes sense to hop into the back of both of these. Now what's great about the Honda Pilot, you have a ton of storage in the door here. You've also got the window shades, so if you got the kiddos in the back, they can pull those up to keep the sun out of their face. One thing I really like in here, there's a little cell phone storage pocket, so the kids or whoever's in the back seat can put their phone in there. You've also got vents, a different climate control zone back here, and a couple of USB-C chargers. Now what's great about these seats is that you can slide them. They're on a slide, so forward and back if someone in the third row needs a little bit more space. You can also just simply push the button on the side here or on the backrest, and that kicks and slides the seat forward. You can fold them down flat. It's kind of like a Lego set the way you can configure this model. Now with the middle seat, this is the 8-passenger model. So you can actually remove this center section, and in the back, there's a little storage area underneath the floor. So if you're not using that to keep stuff out of sight, you can actually put the center seat in here. So it goes from an 8-passenger down to a 7-passenger, and it does make it really easy to access that third row. Now, when comparing this to the CX-90, the second row does feel a little bit larger in here. It kind of feels more boxy, if that makes sense. But the third row, it's only about an inch bigger, but it does feel like it gives you quite a bit more room back there. I think adults would be a little bit more comfortable, or kids wouldn't mind either one of the third rows. Now, obviously you can fold those seats down, so if you need a little bit of extra cargo space, the second row, the third row, you can fold everything pretty much flat and have almost like a cargo van of space back here. So let's jump over to the CX-90. We'll check out that second and third row. All right, so in the CX-90 second row here, this one has the captain's chair option. So some of the top tier trim levels will only come with the captain's chairs. It will be optional in some of the lower levels, or else you would have the bench seat similar to the Honda Pilot. Now it does feel immediately more luxurious when you're inside the CX-90. Some of the materials feel a little bit more premium, and some of the layout just does feel to me like it might have a little bit more of a luxury aspect when comparing it with the Pilot. Very similar, we're gonna have 2 USB-C chargers down here, another third zone climate control, and vents for that second row. Now, like I said, this one you can just crawl right through the middle here, and the third row is a little bit tighter, but I think if you've got the growing family or the kids back there, there is plenty of room, and I have lots of headroom and knee space up above from where I would be driving comfortably. Now in the third row, you're also going to have cup holders, and both vehicles are going to give USB-C charging for the third row passengers. Same thing in here. You can simply just fold the seats down, pull the handle on the back. The Pilot might be a little more convenient with just the press button, but it's the same difference. They fold, they slide. You can pretty much configure this how you like. Let's hop back over to the Honda Pilot. We'll check out the driver's seat. Behind the wheel of the Pilot Touring here, I've got my cell phone. And why? Because we've got wireless charging down here, and I've got wireless Apple CarPlay as well as Android Auto. Google Maps, text messaging, Spotify, all of that is built right into this new infotainment screen. It's easy to use, it is lightning fast in terms of responsiveness, and I love the size. It's not the entire dash. It's just a simple small screen that lets me use what I need, and I've also got voice controls on the steering wheel that make it very convenient to stay safe when you're on the move. So let's talk about the Honda Sensing. Now that's the safety system that's in this vehicle. Obviously, if it's you and the family in the vehicle, you're gonna wanna make sure you're safe. The Honda Driver Assist system gives you things like forward collision warning, adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring. It can even do lane keeping assist, and all of this stuff you can go into the menu and turn it off if you don't want those features on, or just right here on the steering wheel. The adaptive cruise control is one of my favorite features though. 4, 3, 2, 1 car length distance is ahead of you. You can set that, and if you're eating up some highway miles, that is a very convenient feature. Now this has the digital gauge cluster, so you can actually click the home button and kind of use these little scroll wheel to go through some stuff. Range and fuel, speed and time, your audio, phone, all that good stuff is built right into here, and as well a few additional safety features. Now beyond that, the regular infotainment screen will also give you navigation in here. The backup camera is great, and like I said outside, those parking sensors can certainly help you out in a pinch. Now this will get the dual zone climate control in here and the heated seats for the driver and the passenger. If you go up to the Elite Pilot, that trim level would add the ventilated seats as well as the full heated steering wheel. Now this is a leather wrapped steering wheel, which does have the paddle shifters behind if you want to shift through the 10-speed, feeling a little bit sporty. There's also a few different drive modes that you can select to fine tune your driving style. Now, one of the coolest things here that frees up a lot of space is the shift-by-wire system. So you don't have to go to reverse down into drive, you just simply click drive, reverse, or park, whatever you'd like, and that does free up space for a little bit more room for the cup holders, as well as the very large center console here. Now on the key fob, it's also got a built-in remote start. So you can fire the vehicle up, it'll be nice and toasty when you hop in the wintertime, or cool it down in the summer. Now one of the other great features in the Touring is the full panoramic sunroof. It absolutely opens it up, especially with the darker interior in here. The people in the second row will be thanking you for getting that option. So I love the layout. Everything is simple. That's one great thing about Honda is they don't overcomplicate it. You could throw someone the keys, they could get in the vehicle. Once they kind of figure out the shift by wire if they're not used to it, you can turn the AC down, you can figure out how things work, and it does make it very convenient to use day to day. But let's hop over, we'll check out that CX-90. Okay, so back over in the 3.3 Turbo Premium, again, the phone. We've got wireless charging down here, and this is gonna have the wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as well, which is, again, a great feature to have when you're on the go. Now, this one does have pretty much identical safety equipment. The driver assist system is gonna give you a ton of stuff like that radar cruise control, lane departure warning, blind spot monitoring. There's a ton of cool stuff built into there, and this one does have the heads-up display. So that's going to show you your miles per hour, some of your cruise control stuff if you've got that set, and it can also show you the speed limit signs on the road, so that is a great safety feature as well. Now you will notice this is the lighter interior, so there's a pretty cool interior options when you're looking at the CX-90. This premium package does also add the panoramic sunroof in here with this light interior and kind of this light, almost kind of looks like a beach house vibe in here with this lighter wood in the interior. It's very gorgeous and very well appointed. The leather does feel almost more premium to me, and the way it's laid out, there's even some bronze into the vents here. It is a pretty gorgeous interior. Now, both the Pilot and the CX-90 do get the upgraded Bose sound systems in these trim levels as well, so the audio does sound pretty great in here. Now, one thing of difference is the shifter down here. So you go over to reverse and then down into drive. So when you kick it into reverse, obviously, like I said, you have the parking sensors and the backup camera in here. They're pretty much going to be the same between the Pilot and the CX-90. Now, this one has the multimedia controller down here. So if I go over to my CarPlay, you can use this little wheel or kind of go up and down to scroll through your CarPlay or even your regular navigation that's built into this model. And then there's also a volume knob down here, which does make it pretty easy. Now, these seats, I would say they're pretty much on par with the Honda Pilot. They're also going to be heated for the driver and the passenger. And like I said, you can work your way up the trim level, ventilated seats as well. You can add the heated steering wheel into these models, which is a great feature. But this one, like the Pilot, does get the paddle shifters behind and the voice control on here, which will pull up Siri if I'm using CarPlay. Now, comparing the two, the Pilot Touring and the 3.3 Turbo Premium, the price point is going to be very, very similar. That one comes in just over $50,000 for the MSRP. This particular one that we have here today is about $47,900, but sometimes they do kind of get closer to that $50,000 range in the Turbo Premium package, just depending on what equipment is in these. And there's different options or features in both vehicles. This one does feel a little bit more luxurious and premium to me, and maybe almost feels like it competes more with the Acuras or the Infinitis, where the Honda Pilot does seem like it competes more with Nissan and Toyota. That being said, the Pilot does feel more spacious inside. It feels like there's a little bit more room in that second and third row, but both are going to be very similar. Storage space is abundant in both vehicles. A lot of the same equipment can be had for pretty much the same dollar amount. It really just depends on, do you want a little bit more space, a little more luxury? Do you like the way this driver's seat fits you? I think the best way is to get out, drive both vehicles, open the back, sit in the second rows of each, see which one fits you best and is built for your lifestyle. Whether it's just you bopping around or you got the whole family with you, I think both of these vehicles are going to be perfect for day-to-day use. So stop on by, take each one for a spin and see what you think. So that was just a quick look at the Mazda CX-90 and the Honda Pilot. So if you have any other questions or you'd like to schedule a test drive, you can visit us online at walser.com or stop by any one of our locations. We'd be happy to help you out. Thanks for watching.